That is much greener than I thought it would be. Well, time for the debrief. So that is the Redon Backyard Ultra wrapped up, and my last big race for this year. What a weekend it was. In all honesty, I'm happy with the result I got. I ran 116 miles, 28 laps, DNF'd on the 29th because I had a horrendous stabbing pain in my hip and I just couldn't run. I was doing the maths in my head of, can I make this round a lap? If I do a 7:55, I can just about scrape in at 58 minutes. I'll text my support crew, get them to get a double tailwind for me, and then I'm good to go again. And I got halfway around the first lap and I looked at my watch and I was like, this is 20 minutes gone. I don't know how I'm going to do this. And I pushed on and pushed on. And when I got to the end of the first lap, you had to do 2 laps of the course. I was 40 minutes in and I just made my way back to HQ because I was like, there is no way I'm making this. But you live and learn. I mean, I did this race 5 weeks prior, so over the 2 races, that's nearly 250 miles in my legs in 5 weeks outside of training. So in 5 weeks, I've run over 650 kilometers, which I am unbelievably proud of and has served for a massive block of running for me. But I thought I'd give the full rundown, and actually before I get into that, I probably need to change into a more appropriate t-shirt, so just give me 2 seconds. And actually, shout out to Redon for all this swag. Look at that. Backyard Ultra Cheltenham on the Redon cap. Unbelievable event. Obviously, I'm coached by Redon, so I don't think I'm that biased because everyone I've seen who was at the event said it's the best event they've ever been to. And, you know, I would fully stand by that. The level of competitor was so high and the whole field out there was just full of absolute monsters. I've never seen a Backyard Ultra get to a point where we're about to cross into 100 miles and there's still over 45 people on the start line. It was nuts, absolutely wild. And I mean, between 100 miles and 116 where I dropped out, it went from 40 to 14. So that kind of tells you probably 120, 130 miles is when you started getting towards those last kind of like top 10 numbers. I don't know exactly when that happened because I was asleep in the car on the way home by that point. But super proud, learned loads during the event, and whilst I'm giving a rundown of the event itself, I thought I'd also give you a rundown of the kit that I took and what I found really useful. So if you're thinking of doing a Backyard Ultra, you can take some tips from this and carry that forward into your next race. So we're going to start with the shoes. Now, I took 5 pairs of shoes and I thought at some point I might need to change into these. These are my Ultra Olympus 6s. And these took me over the 3 peaks. We did a marathon. I did 112 miles in these at the LSD, and they're just phenomenal shoes. Like, absolutely love running trails in them. But what I didn't realize was Cheltenham was basically all road. Aside from, like, there was some gravel track, there was some what felt like a sort of like rubberized hay. It was a bit strange, but really comfortable underfoot. Those were my favorite sections. So I thought I'd need these at some point if it was raining. Definitely did not. They are just a bit heavy and clunky for running on road, and they're just not that comfortable for road. So they got binned out of the rotation. The 2 shoes that I wore were these, which are Nova Blast 5 Trails. Very comfortable trail shoes. Not the grippiest, as you can see, but mega comfortable, like really sort of like soft upper. They've got like a bit more protection than the other ones do. I still wouldn't like to use these in like the Lake District or anything like that. I'd still take the Ultras if I was running there. But for like Northumberland trails, if it was kind of like muddy, gravelly underfoot, would wear these 100%. So comfortable, really nice cushioning. So they were great. However, the standout, the Nova Blast 5s road shoes, unbelievable shoe. Now, I am a heavier runner, so at the end of the race, I did find that I could feel the floor through these, but I think that's just because my weight is closer to 90 kilos than it is to 80. And in all honesty, I think that was probably one of my downfalls during the race, was that I am just a bit too heavy going into the distances that I want to cover. So that's something that we'll cover in another video in terms of stuff that I've learned from the Ultra and stuff that I'm going to change going into next year, because I am going back to Cheltenham. I've got unfinished business with that course. But these were unreal. Like, would definitely encourage you to look at the terrain that you're going into and look at what sort of track it's going to be. Is it going to be road? Is it going to be gravel? Is it going to be off-road? And make sure you've got a couple of different shoes with you. So like I said, I took 5 pairs, the Ultras, these 2 sets of Asics, 2 pairs of Topos, and I just ended up all pretty much all in these. I think I only did 6 laps in the trails, and then I just switched to these because they were just so comfortable. And yeah, I'll be wearing these definitely going forward, but also getting some Gel Nimbus 28s because they're a bit more padded than these are for some daily stuff. So they'll probably go into the rotation next time if they feel like they're even more pillowy, because at a time there will come a point in that race where you just need something even softer. So my strategy for next time will be wearing these and then going for the 28s. I've got a lot of boxes here. Let me just zoom in on these for you. Let me just show you all of this stuff here. So we have here, the way that I organize things: nutrition, tackle, so electronics, any sort of like medical stuff, any admin-y type stuff, and then normal clothes, warm and dry clothes that we rotated through. So really, in terms of like all of this stuff here, it was stuff that I've already used before. So Haribo's, chews, gels, loads of Stroop waffles. But we did also get through quite a lot of regular Belgian waffles. Now for me, these just go down so well, and they're like 50 grams of carbs, 5 grams of protein. They are 20 grams of fat per serving, but to be honest, just being able to get like 400 calories down in a single serving is pretty good. And they're very, very easy to have with like a cup of tea or something. So I drink a fair bit of tea through races like this. It just helps to kind of like keep me warm for whatever reason. Hot drinks seem to keep my appetite up as well. So they were really, really useful. Obviously massive tubs of Haribo, which I didn't actually have that much of, to be honest. These were almost like an emergency thing, so I don't know why I bought 2 kilograms of them. However, yeah, I didn't realize, I thought they said 400 grams, didn't realize it was 1.5 kilos. So we actually had 4 kilograms of Haribo. What did I think I was going to be doing? 4 kilograms of Haribo. Who needs 4 kilos of Haribo? Other things that we took in here that were really useful, 100%, these were absolutely banging. If I felt like I couldn't eat anything, but I needed to get sodium in, they were great. And we'll definitely be taking them on all my other races. And we also got some free goodies with some MyProtein chews, which I'm going to try going into my next training block when that gets started. So nutrition wise, it was all a success. But just to show you how we ran all of this, I actually had this spreadsheet which I printed out for my team. The intentions were to go a lot longer than 29 hours. So I had 1, 2, 3 sheets printed out. We made loads of notes on there as well, of which I'm not going to go through all now, but this just gives you a really good opportunity to have someone there with you with a plan to start with, so you just don't have to really answer any questions. Now, I think this is where briefing your team really, really matters, and I did a much better job of briefing the team this time than I did last time, but there's still stuff that I would change going into the next one. So I think just having the ability to cook more food ourselves, and probably hiring or borrowing a camper van next time to have easier access to stuff like cooking facilities, would be miles better. But you can see here, like, there was a plan to have pizza like later on that day, and I just got to a point where I was like, do you know what would be really nice? I just love a bit of pizza right now. So the lads went and got me a pizza, which was just brilliant. And we wrote down, like, you know, what it was like going to the toilet when I went. Was it clear? Was it yellow? Because keeping an eye on that sort of stuff also helps you in terms of staying on top of your hydration and making sure that, you know, obviously if you're peeing brown, you're getting towards danger town there, aren't you? It just meant that we could keep on top of everything. Those guys knew exactly what I needed at what time. It meant we could keep on top of stuff like sock changes, shoe changes. Actually, for me, that was the most important thing. Like, I came out of this with 0 blisters, 0 foot issues whatsoever. I'm going to go into that next because I have a formula for how that actually works. Oh, we'll get rid of this box. Right, into the bag. So this is basically all of my kit in there. I've just put it in a bag for ease now. But there is one thing in particular I want to grab out of here. Well, 2 things actually. There is 1, and here is 2. So I have a 3-step system which has stopped me getting blisters on 100Ks, 100 milers, like all of my long training runs. I did the Yorkshire Three Peaks marathon route in the pissing rain, 0 foot issues. So 3 things that help with that. Number 1, foot prep and the right foot products. So I am supported by a company called Feet. I've talked about them before. I use this product, Safeguard, on my feet and in between my thighs because I am a thick thigh pappy. That massively helps. There is also Bounce Back Muscle Balm, which you can use to rub on sort of after. With certainly a race like this, you might use it during on like quads, calves, that sort of stuff. But those 2 were massively important. I also prepped my feet with a product called Soul Savior, which I used every single day for about a month going into the race. And it just meant my feet were nice and soft. There was no like hard patches that could like cause any friction or anything like that. The other thing, something I got from Chris King, who is the director at Beyond the Ultimate, is using KT tape around key points. So I have always got in this bag a couple of things, some strips of KT tape that are ready to go, but also a big wrap of it here. So I think I've got about 10 meters of tape or something like that I can cut into strips. So I tape 3 of my toes and around the ball of my foot every single time I do a long race. Now that's because for me, historically, those have been places where I get a lot of hot spots. So they always get taped up before the race even starts. And that is after I've applied chafe guard everywhere, then I tape things up, and I will apply chafe guard on my feet throughout the race as well. Now, one of the bigger things for me was actually just staying on top of sock admin this time, because I will admit, I did these things last time and didn't stay on top of changing my socks. Mike, who owns Red On and Red On socks, which are, in my opinion, the best socks I've ever worn to race in. No, I'm not biased. I have tried a lot of socks out. Literally nothing comes close to how good these are. I got told off for bad sock admin last time. I changed my socks once, and that's probably why I got such big blisters on my big toe and the ball of my foot. This time I ran further, I had 0 blisters, none at all, and my feet were really comfy all the way throughout. This was the final piece of the puzzle, these Red On socks. So I took a few different brands with me because I didn't have enough to cover the time that I wanted. In terms of just Red On socks. I do now after the weekend because I bought a lot more of them. I would change these socks every 4 hours or every 5 hours if the weather was dry. If it was wetter, I'd probably change them every 2, to be honest. And my plan for next year is to have even more of these if I do need them. So I may well take upwards of 20, 25 pairs of socks with me. And I genuinely don't think you can have enough of these when you're going into these races. The more often you're changing your socks, the less likely you are to be getting any issues, and it just gives you something fresh on your feet. Now, a little bonus one, and thank you, Mike, very, very much for gifting these to me when I was really struggling with calf issues. My calves are getting super, super tight. Literally never worn a calf sleeve before. These were like, just felt like I was on a different planet. Don't know if that was just because it was change, but as I got towards the end of the race, my calves really started like cramping up, and I could feel a lot of pain at the top of my calf. I banged these on and I got 5 extra laps out without any calf pain at all. Didn't finish with any calf pain. Calves feel fine today. So very, very pleased with that 3-step system. That will be staying in there for good. Now, the weather at the race was actually a lot better than I expected. So I didn't end up using a lot of jackets, but this from Montane was absolutely spectacular. This is, I actually can't remember what jacket this is. I think this is their like Featherlight windbreaker jacket, and perfect for running in those conditions where, you know, there's a little bit of a chill in the air. There might be some rain spitting. All you need is something to just kind of give you an extra layer against the wind. That was spectacular. And actually the weather throughout the whole thing was pretty good. We had a little bit of rain, and I changed into my Montane Spire jacket, I think it is, or Spine jacket, which was instantly far too hot. So that came straight off and just ran my waist. So weather-wise, it was actually perfect. And I think that probably contributed to having such a nice time in that 29 hours in terms of enjoying the actual running itself. I did use two carriers, one of which my wife has used, and I'm not sure where it has gone, but that's the XCO belt, and then the Salomon vest, which I just wanted on when I needed a bit more to carry with me, wanted some food out on a lap, wanted just a couple of bits and bobs in my pockets, and I was sick of carrying a bottle in my hand, so I just banged it in this instead, because my XCO belt is good, but it can only hold 250ml bottles, not 500 like I have, so that was just there to carry phone, basically, and that was it. I do have a hat rotation as well, if you're wondering. Yes, these 3. The Red On race cap, this special edition race cap, this fractal cap, and I do actually have a Montane cap somewhere as well, which is waterproof. However, that didn't need to come out this weekend, so I was very, very pleased with that. Now, what I think was maybe the key piece of equipment over the weekend was this. I'm sure everybody knows what these look like, but I got one of these after basically I got hypothermia doing a sea-dip. Genius here. Thought it was a really great idea to wear shorts and t-shirt after being in the sea for like 20 minutes. What a silly idea that was. Every single lap, I was met by my crew, especially as we got to the night and then into the morning. Through the day, it was fine, but I was met by my crew. One of them was wearing that and warmed it up for me, passed it over to me. We walked back to the gazebo. I lay down on the bed. They got everything sorted. That was spectacular. I didn't need a sleeping bag at all. I literally just slept in that with a towel over my face so I didn't have to see anything. On the sleep front, sleep. I've probably got 15 minutes of closing my eyes over that 29 hours. I'm not sure I'd have got much more the following night, really, because you are essentially just coming in and getting whatever you can. So I kind of just was okay with not sleeping at all through the event. But it was warm, it was dry, it's absolutely bulletproof in bad weather. It is, in my opinion, if you're going to spend a lot of money on some really good bits of kit, loads of good socks, decent jacket and a dry robe, and obviously I think shoes go without saying, some really comfortable shoes, those 4 bits of kit for me are probably up there with the most valuable things you can get. The only other bit, I need to find this, the only other bit of kit I'm going to mention here, and I picked this up for about 12 quid, was this. So this is a hanging organizer. So I had this up in the gazebo with various different bits in these pockets. 100% we'll be taking this again next time, and I'll probably take a second one for clothes, so it's even easier to reach stuff, because next time I'll be taking, we had my mum's gazebo, which was amazing, but I'll be taking a brand new gazebo next time. Who knows? Maybe we'll get one branded, so we'll have more space to do that. But essentially that's most of the kit run through, to be honest. Like, you do take a lot of stuff with you, but actually when it comes down to the pieces of kit you use, it's pretty simple. Obviously I had like shorts and t-shirt and stuff like that. And actually one thing I will show you, another shout out to Redon, because they do just make really good kit, and I'm probably gonna end up running in all of their kit next time, is these compression shorts. Nice and vibrant. I don't know why I ran in these and shorts on top, because it was way too hot. So next time I'll probably just run in compression shorts on their own. But those were brilliant. Like, hands down, like the most comfortable setup I had through the weekend was really good, like anti-chafe pants on with chafe guard underneath, then those compression shorts on top. That was such a good setup, and hands down would run that again, like every single time. So yeah, just massive shout out to Redon for running such a good event, providing such good kit, and I can't wait for next year already. All in all, I am really, really pleased with a lot of stuff from the event. Very much not satisfied with what I got on the day. And I know that sounds crazy because it was over 4 marathons back to back, but it just felt like my mind was nowhere near done. I was frustrated that my body gave out because I was so ready to keep going. I was preparing for another night. I was getting my crew ready for it, and then the wheels just fell off in terms of my joints, and I was really disappointed with that. But sort of to be expected if you've run a backyard ultra 5 weeks beforehand and you've already done 112 miles with over 3,000 foot of elevation gain. So I think it's my own damn fault for being a silly and booking 2 races so close together. So that won't be happening next year because we are doing LSD again. However, I'm going to be running it as a training run into Redon this time. But I just wanted to say a massive thank you to the guys at Redon. Every single lap, my coach Gaz was there. I was giving him a fist bump at the end of every lap. And when he went to sleep for a couple of hours, Isaac, who was on the mic, who I know really well, who coached me for a bit last year, was giving me fist bumps. Liam was there checking in on me, seeing how many he was doing because he did all my rehab. Mike sorted me out with some calf sleeves, bought me an espresso when I really needed one. They were all just so supportive, and you know, they very much made their intentions clear at the start. This was all about the athletes, and they lived up to that above and beyond what we could have all hoped for, and they were so supportive of everyone. Saw some amazing things over the weekend, people getting their first 50Ks, people getting their first 100Ks, 100 miles. The bloke from Contact Coffee, Luke, who thought he was done, he was in the tactical division, so he had a 10 kilo vest on, thought he was done, watched him vomit and take his vest off, and then literally 20 seconds before the start said, put that vest back on me, put the vest on, strapped in, went again for 2 more laps, I think. Just some unbelievable feats of strength, and obviously congrats to Jay, who took the win at 61 laps. One absolute monster. But none of that would happen without the effort of the team at Redon. So just a massive thank you to them for all the support over the weekend. And obviously I work with them, they are my coaches as well. So I'm very, very excited to get into next year. There will be some changes for me in terms of how I approach that, what the focus is for the next 12 months, because really that is it. That's the only thing, the only race I want to really, really push it at. And that's what I've got my sights set on already, is a much, much bigger score next time. And I know Isaac is sending out the pictures, so I have a whiteboard up here where that picture is going on with a countdown of how many weeks we've got left until the next one. And it'll be a constant reminder of what we want to do next time, because I do have some big ambitions for that race next year, and I will share them at some point. not now because I'm still recovering from the last one, but here's to the next 12 months ahead. But I'm gonna wrap it up there for today. Thank you for watching along. Make sure you like and subscribe, and who knows, maybe I'll drink more of Hulk's wee wee in the next video. Thank you for coming along for the journey. I'm really excited to share the next 12 months. This is really only just getting into this whole YouTube thing, so I do appreciate you being here, and I'm very, very excited for what's to come and what we can do next time around. So I'll see you in the next video.